How's it going, my fellow shiny Pokemon? ShinySnorlax here, bringing you guys a Pokemon Showdown OU commentary, so let's get to it. I'll lead off with my Caesar. Opponent leads off with his Hooper Unbound. Opponent decides to switch out into his Typhlosion. I Mega Evolve, and then go for the U-turn. I switch out into my Heatran. The opponent decides to go for a Focus Blast, however he does miss, and I set up my Stealth Rocks. I decide to switch out into my Dragonite, knowing I can take a Focus Blast, and I do take it very, very well. Opponent decides to switch out into his Jirachi, most likely predicting an Outrage. However, I'd predict the Jirachi, and I went for the Earthquake. Opponent brings out his Pidgeotto, and I decide to switch out into my Heatran, knowing I can take any attack from this thing. Opponent Mega Evolves, and goes for the Mega Evolution, and Hidden Powers. Opponent goes for the Hurricane, most likely trying to confuse me. However, I do not get confused, and I go for the Toxic. Opponent decides to switch out into his Lantern, and I go for the Lava Plume just to see what he'll do. I get the burn. I decide to switch out into my Dragonite, knowing I could take a hit. However, the opponent does not attack and goes for a Heal Bell instead. Opponent switches out into his Pidgeotto, and I decide to go for an Outrage. I was about to say Mega Evolve. Opponent decides to bring out his Typhlosion, and opponent goes for a Hidden Power and nearly takes me out. I go for the Outrage, taking out the Typhlosion. Opponent brings out Hooper Unbound, goes for the knockoff, and finishes off my Dragonite. I decide to bring out my Hungry Hippos, knowing I can take most hits. Opponent goes for a knockoff and gets a critical hit, and gets rid of my leftovers. I go for an Earthquake, nearly taking out the Hooper, and now I decide to leave it out to die. Opponent finishes it off with a Grass Knot, so it is a mixed attacker. I bring out my Caesar. Opponent goes for a knockoff, trying to get some damage in probably. And I go for the Swords Dance, knowing that the Sandstorm will finish it off. Opponent brings out his Chestnut. Opponent decides to go for a Spiky Shield, and I go for the knockoff because I want to get rid of the leftovers. I go for the knockoff once more and finally get rid of those leftovers. Opponent goes for a Leech Seed, however he does miss. I go for the Bullet Punch now, nearly taking it out. And opponent goes for a Leech Seed again and misses. Opponent goes for a Spiky Shield, and I set up Swords Dance. I go for the Bullet Punch, finishing off the Chestnut. And I believe here the opponent forfeits. Yes, he does. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting battle. Dragonite surely did a lot of work there, so be sure to comment down below, body slam the like button, and subscribe if you want to become a shiny Pokemon, and I'll see you next time.